Welcome back to Public Report. I'm Sheila Pulliam. We have with us today Mr. Dan Smith, and he is a board member of Greensboro Beautiful. Dan, welcome to Public Report.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My question to you is Greensboro beautiful?
Well, it's a work in progress. Our motto is Greensboro Beautiful, make it, keep it. And so there are many places where we're doing our best to make it beautiful, and where it's already beautiful, our 4 public gardens and numerous places in the city, especially this time of year, we do our best to keep it that way.
So now how do you identify what's not beautiful?
What has been going on for decades through Greensboro Beautiful is a community appearance index. That's done in January when the leaves are off the trees and it's easy to spot from a car, and a selection of areas throughout the city are examined really in teams and vans who look and say, how much litter is here, how much graffiti is here, how much illegal signage is present, and tries to rate those areas. That information feeds back into some of the other activities of the organization. Coming up on Saturday, April 18th, we have our one of our 2 annual cleanups, the Great American Cleanup, where volunteer teams throughout the city clean up the litter that we may have found when we drove by in January.
Now, when you're assessing the appearance, are you looking at more than just the litter?
Yes, we are. So we are looking, one of the easy things when people think about keeping Greensboro green is the litter that you see, the trash on the sidewalk, maybe trash in streams. But we also look at signs that really shouldn't be there. That you could think of a political sign that's a little bit of a different animal, but a lot of folks will pop a sign right in the side of the road. Well, your next big thunderstorm or heavy wind, and suddenly that sign has become litter. So that's another item that we specifically look for. We also look for graffiti because it's something that can detract from the beauty of the community.
Okay. So now is it the board itself that's making these decisions about how to improve the appearance?
It is. So the board of Greensboro Beautiful, it's a volunteer board, and it works with the professional staff of the city of Greensboro to effectuate our mission, to make Greensboro and keep Greensboro a beautiful place. But that board also coordinates the activities of hundreds, if not thousands, if you count up every individual one, of volunteers, whether it's a Boy Scout or Girl Scout troop, a church group, college students. And if anyone wants to volunteer at any time, they can find a way to connect with our organization to make Greensboro a more beautiful place.
So to volunteer with the Greensboro Beautiful, it has many faces.
It does.
Absolutely, and it really represents the community.
It absolutely represents the community.
So the process for, if once you make a determination that something needs improving, what's the process?
So if we're talking about litter, we get teams of volunteers together, and we really do our best to get teams from the neighborhood, whatever neighborhood it might be, because there you're not only picking up the litter and taking the trash out of the streams or that old tire that someone dumped where they shouldn't have, but you're also building community. You're seeing your neighbors, you're out on a beautiful spring day, hopefully, and you're seeing your neighbors, and you're having a chance to get things nice and clean. And then the nice part of how the Great American Cleanup is set up is you bring that trash back to Parks and Rec on 4th Street, and there you get some pizza, you get some water, your typical volunteer
incentives.
Incentives and freebies. But then you get to see, what other teams have brought in. So there's a whole lot of community and companionship.
But how challenging is it, though, to clean up graffiti? Because you see that quite often.
Well, graffiti is not something we handle in our litter cleanup, but it is something that's at some level, that's where we transition from the nonprofit organization, the Greensboro Beautiful, to the city itself. And so they, one thing we've been doing, or the city, I should say, has been doing lately is applying anti-graffiti paint. So paint on a certain targeted areas where it's easy to tag with graffiti and put in paint that makes it hard to spray and easy to clean up if it's there. So that's one of the things the city's doing.
That's awesome, and which helps with the program, because graffiti can be really an eyesore.
It can be.
Yes, yes. So what are some of the responsibilities, other responsibilities of the volunteers, since it's made up mainly of volunteers?
Well, so we've talked about the litter cleanups.
Yes.
Greensboro Beautiful also plants trees twice annually in the Neighborhoods program. Most recently, in March, I want to say the 20th, in the Warnersville neighborhood, it's celebrating its 150th anniversary.
Wow.
And as part of the celebrations, over 150 trees were planted, selected to grow in that community. I was there. I planted with a group from NCANT, a great group of ladies, and it was pretty amazing to me. That neighborhood is 150 years old, and some of those trees are about 150 years old, which is on the old side for a tree. So it was inspiring to think about how the tree that we're planting today is going to be there hopefully 150 years and be one of those large, majestic trees that, is a place for shade, a place for, just beauty in your community.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, how involved is Greensboro Beautiful with the parks? Because we have beautiful parks in this area.
Well, Greensboro Beautiful is responsible for the public gardens. So you have the Arboretum, you have the Tangier Bicentennial Garden and the Bog Garden, which are right next to each other, and then Gateway Gardens, which is the newest, special focus on children in that gardens. So that is the primary responsibility of the nonprofit organization. And then the other parks within the city are really the responsibility of the city's Parks and Recs department. That's not to say that there's not a lot of synergy and working together that happens. There's a holiday greenery festival that Greensboro Beautiful puts on, selling wreaths and trimming and poinsettias, and that takes place at most recently Lewis Recreation Center, which is a public facility. The tree plantings I mentioned, the most recent was in the Warnersville neighborhood. If we go back to the fall, in November, we were planting, I would say about 50% of the trees were in public parks. So it really just depends. There is some, I guess the way I would put it is if the city needs that volunteer power,
yes,
they know where to come.
Awesome, awesome. Well, how challenging, though, is it to raise funds? For instance, if you're planting that many trees, where do you get your funding?
Well, funding comes from individual donors, but it also comes from corporate sponsors.
Okay.
UPS is a generous donor to the Neighborhoods program, and there are too many sponsors to note, but if you went to our website, greensborobeautiful.org, you could hear more about them. But it also comes from, again, individual donations. We do raise some funds through our Memorial and Honor Tree program, our Memorial Bench program. So if you've ever been in the public gardens and you've seen a bench that has someone's name in memory of, yes, that raises a modest amount of funds for the organization. And that Holiday Greenery Festival, as mentioned, the profits from the sale of the wreaths and the poinsettias and the trimmings, those help fund the organization. In addition, I would be remiss not to mention that we have public events at the gardens. So we have Art in the Arboretum, we have Groovin' in the Gardens, which is coming up on this month at Gateway Gardens. We have Parisian Promenade at Tangier Bicentennial Garden. And we have the Goodnight Moon Gala, which is scheduled for this fall. You can find a lot more. I'm not sure I can keep all the information of all the events in my head, but you can find more on the website. But those events also generate a small amount, or sometimes a large amount of funding, depending on how well attended they are and how successful the community is at supporting our mission.
This is a multifaceted organization. It is wonderful, and you don't realize how involved Greensboro Beautiful is. Now, can you break it down for us? For instance, you were giving dates, and if you could be a little bit more specific. So, for instance, with the gardens coming up, there is an event. Right. The first event you mentioned is going to be April 18th.
That's right.
Okay, can you tell us what that event is again?
The April 18th is the Great American Cleanup.
Okay.
And that is the litter cleanup.
It's the citywide?
Citywide.
Okay, how does someone get involved with that?
You can call our offices, the number's on the website. You can go to the website and sign up. And you can send an email and you'll get signed up. The deadline to sign up a team of volunteers is coming up very shortly. It's April 10th.
Okay.
And, you know, if you miss this cleanup, you can always come in the fall for the second cleanup.
All right.
You can always get on our mailing list if you want to, or really our email list for tree plantings.
All right. So now, why are the corporations involved with Greensboro Beautiful?
Because they want to make Greensboro a beautiful place to live too, because then it's a beautiful place to work, and then you attract the talent, the professional talent, and all the folks that you need to make this city great. So I think there is an interest, and you know, I think most corporations would like to get their name out there as someone that's supporting, really, I think a mission everyone can get behind.
Okay, maintaining the green in Greensboro.
Maintaining the green in Greensboro and making it beautiful. You know, sometimes people think of Greensboro Beautiful and all they think of is the public gardens. And you know, flowers and trees and shrubs are all beautiful, and they're a beautiful place to take a walk. But Greensboro Beautiful is also about cleaning it up and providing the opportunities, the events for folks to enjoy those public gardens.
Absolutely.
To enjoy being outside.
So, Dan, if someone wants to get in touch or find out more about Greensboro Beautiful, how can they do so?
I think the single best place is our website, greensborobeautiful.org. There are numerous ways to contact us through that website. You obviously could pick up the phone if you want to give a call. You can send an email. You can fill out a form that says, I'm interested in tree plantings, or I'm interested in volunteering at a garden event. Whatever the volunteers' interests are, there's usually a way we can match that with the organization.
All right, so now if someone goes to the website, is there any type of incentive other than just wanting to contribute to Greensboro Beautiful? Is there any incentive or packet or anything that they can expect?
Well, I think, you know, most of our tree plantings and otherwise, we have a wonderful pair of green gloves.
Okay. Oh, good.
And, you know, we also think it really is, it's the chance to get out in the community and work to make it more beautiful for everyone.
Yeah, very good. So, and again, there's another event coming up, Groovin' in the Garden, is that correct? Where's this at?
This is going to be at Gateway Gardens, and I believe if I have my dates straight, it's Saturday. It's not the 18th. No, see, I'm gonna mess up my days.
That's okay. We can find that information out on the website.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Mr. Dan Smith, you are a board member of Greensboro Beautiful. It's been wonderful having you with us today. And you have provided so much information. We can go to the website and find out all about keeping green in Greensboro.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
It's been my pleasure. And we will see you next time on